Welcome to Grover Load. I'm Anthony, and look at what we have here. This is going to WCCF Tech, and the European Commission approves the Microsoft Activision-Blizzard deal, the super $70 billion roughly mega deal. And this is interesting, right? We just had the CMA come out and block it. It was, what was it, 2, 3 weeks ago? And there was a rumor last week that it was going to be approved by the EU, but there also was a rumor that CMA was going to approve it. So here we go. But now it gets kind of interesting because while you have one huge approval, which is the EU, you still have CMA, and then you also have the FTC that you're going to try to get going to get that merger through. My guess is that if Microsoft is going to fight both of them, from what we have heard so far. So then my interpretation of all of this is that once this either CMA appeal gets overturned or kind of the CMA drops it or whatever else or reapprove, all of a sudden changes its thought process and approves it, we could be then all of a sudden just seeing this deal get pushed through, even with the FTC not approving it, right? Now, on the other side, let's say the FTC goes through and it does something of the same sort. You could also see the merger kind of go through without without the CMA's approval. I think that this is one where if it was going to be denied, Microsoft would have just dropped it, and hopefully that there would not have been a huge uproar over this. But another if they would have blocked it, another stupid thing like go off of hey the, some of the business practices of where the market's going to stand, not some of the weak stuff of cloud gaming that the CMA did. That was kind of pitiful. Even the FTC suite is kind of bad. You guys have heard me before. I don't really want this deal to go through. I'd much rather see a more competition landscape in the gaming community. Heck, I would actually like to see Activision, Blizzard, and King be separated and still have that competition between the three if they're going to be competing in the same markets. But that, I like to see more competition in a marketplace, more games, because we are still sitting at a starved place for games and games ideas overall. Um, I have a friend that plays a lot of first-person shooters, and if you have some good first-person shooters open world, let me know. He's always looking for more games there to play. But this is one of those things where I always like more competition, more innovation, and more creativity, because we have seen a lot of games have issues. We haven't seen Microsoft's Bethesda deal kind of pay off yet either. Um, there was issues with Halo Infinite. While I did enjoy the game, I didn't play it right away. Right, it was a very enjoyable game to play. I really liked it, but at launch it was dicey at best. So these are things that I don't think getting a bigger organization is going through. But some of these weak arguments that these governing bodies are doing are just that weak. Like, come out swinging instead of coming out with just hoping that you can block the deal with not much to back it up with. So we'll see where this all goes, but I think Microsoft would have probably had a hard time fighting all three. Now that they got one done, they can focus on the other two, and we will see if this kind of goes through in its original state, if Microsoft gives up some stuff in both of these appeals, which you could see. I do think that there was all that sexual harassment and misconduct and everything else in Activision Blizzard that had gotten a lot of news last year. I think that's still going to be at the forefront of some of these things, and if Microsoft saying I'm going to clean this up is probably going to swing some people as well in these appeals, as well as you have all these 10-year deals. If Microsoft is able to sign maybe another one or two of these 10-year deals, maybe even Sony gets on board. Sony's kind of dragging it out. At some point, Sony, with this EU doing it, you have to take a look that maybe the 10-year deal is a good starting point and you can negotiate off of it. I don't see Microsoft kind of getting rid of Call of Duty on just the Microsoft side of things, but or just make Call of Duty on only the Microsoft side of things. However, Sony, you have a big market share in the gaming console world, and you have a great, I don't think that you're going to be giving that up to Microsoft anytime soon. Now, if you're worried about cloud gaming, you have that opportunity to put that out there as well. I think that there are services that you could work with, especially like NVIDIA, that has their cloud gaming service out there working quite well, or even some less known ones. You get that out there, you're going to have your games out there, and people are going to want to play them. Sony studios and or Sony, Sony related studios seem to make some really good games overall. You hear about the content and what they're able to do, and they would have a great opportunity in the marketplace to actually create a cloud service wrapped around those and put those out to users as well. So that's my take for Sony. I think Sony, instead of trying to fight this, should kind of take advantage of it right now with these deals, or with this kind of going through the regulatory bodies. I think Sony could actually make a leap and some inroads, especially on the cloud gaming side, to really show off their stuff. Heck, you might be able, Sony, if you were able to do that, you might even be able to go down the route of saying, hey, Microsoft, not only this, but now we're going to provide a cloud gaming service as well. Why don't you provide some of those games to us in our cloud gaming service to get your products out there for people that are paying for ours as well? You could have a slightly different business model than Microsoft has. Maybe people want to go to that one, or they want to support Microsoft, and then all of a sudden, you're still having those games funneled through your side, and Microsoft is receiving that benefit as well of those games being played. It's just an idea of something else. I think Sony. I think there's going to be a place for console gaming for many years to come. So I know I'm not a. I've tried cloud gaming. I've tried it on local systems. I've tried it on my phone, and it's not like playing it local. It's not. So maybe that's something that Sony can add it to. Realize that yes, the console gaming are still going to be here, and with computer gaming how it is and prices, console gaming is very attractive. So you have an opportunity here, Sony. I think you should take advantage of it. I get that you want to fight it and you want to keep Call of Duty, but at the same time, you know, sometimes you might want to switch up your thought process and take advantage and make some headway in some of these other markets while you still can and while you have some leverage there as well. So with that, let me know what your thoughts are on this deal. Not the EU approved it. Are you more inclined that it's going to go through? I am more inclined that if Microsoft that it's going to go through, especially if Microsoft can flip on an appeal, the CMA or the FTC's prior, little stoppages here. So if this gets, I think Microsoft was willing to go the distance with this because it's such a big thing, and because gaming is a content area where I still think it is growing to an extent, right? People are still getting into gaming. It's a different type of content than a movie or TV show, and yet it's still very entertaining too. And so I think there's still some room to grow, especially you hear me, like I want to see more games, more content there. If they can capitalize on it, I think there's that. But let's say Microsoft takes over Activision Blizzard and it doesn't do what we expect. Sony, you and other game studios out there have an opportunity then to also grow and hopefully take over market and develop other games out there. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I do want to say thank you guys all for watching. I do have that solar little setup with a camera all recorded. I just have to edit it now. I finally got that done. So for you, that should be coming out here soon. And I do appreciate everything you guys do, being able to help and support this channel. I really appreciate it. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all this fun YouTube stuff. And until next time, God bless.